Today I want to talk about timelines and how it's impossible to screw up the plan for your life. If this interests you, stick around and let's talk about it. Hi, I'm Veronica and welcome to the Wholeness Shift. If this is your first time here, welcome. I'm so glad you found me. And if you're coming back and you're already part of the community, welcome back. You know I love you. I teach people about easy, practical spirituality and help you navigate your spiritual awakening. We talk about everything here. Aliens and spirit guides and pendulums and reincarnation and dreams and just all the things. No topic is off limits. So if these things interest you, hit the subscribe button below. I wouldn't want you to miss out on anything good. And by you hitting that subscribe button, it gets my page out there so that other people who still need to find it and need the information can find it easier. And if you haven't heard yet, I just this week created a second channel called TWS for the Wholeness Shift, TWS Soothing Sounds. And it's linked below and it's on the Wholeness Shift channel. You can find the link. But I'm going to be posting meditations, guided meditations, sleep sounds, relaxing sounds. If all of those things interest you, head on over there and hit the subscribe button. So let's talk timelines. You know, this was a fascinating topic to me, and at first it was really hard for me to wrap my human mind around. But once I understood the concept, I love it. First of all, what is a timeline? A timeline is kind of like the storyline in a movie. It's the plot line. It's the current storyline that your life is following. This happens, then this will happen, then this will happen. Here's where the tricky part comes in. I know I'm dating myself here, but if you're old enough to remember back in the 70s and 80s, I don't even know if they made them until these books made it to the 90s. I'm not sure. But I know for sure that they existed in the 70s and 80s because that's when I was a kid. There were these choose your own adventure books. Do you remember those? Each book had probably 3 or 4 different storylines within it. And depending on the choices you made within the story, depended which story you got to read, what outcome you got. So, for example, on page 12, it might say something like, if you want to see Timmy turn left and go to the witch's house, turn to page 28. If you want to see Timmy go to the park and play with his friends, turn to page 35. See what I'm saying? So you'll get different stories depending on the decisions you make. Well, life is just like that. Life is exactly like that. You are in a constant state of choosing your own adventure. Every moment of your day, every decision that you make, from big decisions to little decisions, whether it's I'm going to have a cup of coffee or I'm going to have a cup of water. I'm going to wear shorts or I'm going to wear pants. They give you different outcomes. They give you different experiences of that day. If you are a longtime viewer of this channel, then like 3 years ago-ish, you'll remember I posted a video on the 4th dimension, and I will link to that below. In that video, I was talking about an experience that I had when I was at the dentist and I was on laughing gas or nitrous oxide, and I got to see this process playing out. Like I was stoned on this medication and the veil was so thin that I could see this process playing out. And how depending on the decisions that I made right then depended on whether I lived or died, the experiences I would give the other people, all of it. I saw it playing out. So if you haven't seen that video, it's really interesting. Go watch it. I'll link to it below. So the 4th dimension, in a nutshell, the 4th dimension is the astral plane, and there are different densities within each dimension. The lower astral, it's really where like the tricksters and some ugly stuff lives. The fourth dimension is also where the dream world is. So like at night when you're sleeping and you dream, you're actually visiting the astral plane. You're visiting the fourth dimension and you are having those experiences. The fourth dimension is the dimension of like all possibilities, all potentials. That's why in your dreams, not everything always makes sense. You know what I mean? Like you can fly, you can bend something that doesn't normally bend. Zebras can be blue. You know, you can have all different possibilities because anything is possible in the fourth dimension. And so part of the fourth dimension is like the test laboratory. It's the experimental place where your guides and your higher self get to go test out all of these possible timelines and outcomes to see if we do this and have her meet this person, how will that play out? Or if we have her change jobs and work at this place, how's that going to play out? They get to test all of those timelines to see how they turn out. And then you get a bunch of timelines you get to choose from and go from there. So back to timelines. As I was saying, like every single decision you make determines an outcome or takes you on a different path. This is also how you get things like the Mandela Effect. Like, is it Berenstain Bears or Berenstain Bears? Did Nelson Mandela really die? Did he not die back then? This is how they got the name the Mandela Effect, because when Nelson Mandela passed away, so many people around the world were like, wait, what? I remember him dying like years ago. How is he still alive? I remember he died. And they're like, no, he didn't. And they're like, yes, he did. So these people were on different timelines, one where he passed away, one where he did not. Eventually, from different decisions they made, they ended up on the same timeline, yet they each have different memories of events. See what I'm saying? So when I say, and if you would like a separate video, on Mandela Effects, that might be fun. Let me know in the comments if you want to hear more about Mandela Effects. I know at least one of my members wants more information on that because she told me the other day. So maybe that's something we'll cover. And so when I say that it's impossible to screw up your life no matter what decision you make, what do I mean by that? I mean that before you even came to this lifetime, you created a contract, you created a plan for this life, a life plan, a life contract. You said that I want to accomplish this. You might have said something like, I want to face the struggle of not being conventionally attractive and seeing like the rejection I get from some people or the struggles with finding a mate. Or you may do the opposite. I want to have a lifetime where like everybody on the planet thinks I am dope. Everybody loves me. I am the popular one. You could decide in this lifetime, I want to see what it's like to be an alcoholic or to be a heroin addict. Or maybe in this lifetime, I would like to fulfill the experience of having a really abusive childhood or maybe being an abusive parent. You set out what experience you are determined to have. Because, you know, we all have to have all of the experiences. You have to have both the dark and the light. You live lifetimes over and over until you get all of those experiences, right? So you determine what you want to accomplish in this life. Say one of those things is that you're going to marry this one specific person from your soul family, and then you're going to go on to have all these experiences together. And the original plan was that you are going to rendezvous at a job where you work together at whatever age. However, you decide to make a different decision shortly before then, and you end up somewhere else. And on that timeline, it's 11/11. And on that timeline, you're never going to get to that workplace and meet that person. So your guides, you can't screw it up though, because your guides will synchronize events to get you back in place. They will either somehow arrange to have you guys meet outside of the workplace, or maybe they'll arrange for you to get fired. And then you have to find a new job and you do end up at that place. Do you see what I'm saying? You can't screw it up. You don't have to live in fear that you're going to make wrong decisions and that you're going to screw it up. Because if there is something important to be accomplished, you can rest assured that your guides are going to play out all the potentials and all the timelines. And they're going to give you different events that they have synchronized, different synchronicities that will get you back on path. Does that make sense? So even if you've made some questionable decisions in your life, or you think you've screwed it up, all you have to do is get back in tune with yourself, start listening to your intuition and to your heart, follow your heart, and start making decisions based on what feels right, and just stay in the flow, and you're going to get yourself right back to where you need to be. You can't mess it up. One thing I forgot to add in this video that I wanted to come back and add is that anytime you think about a scenario or you create some kind of storyline in your head, you create that timeline that fast. And the instant you think it, the timeline is created. So there is another version of you somewhere, somehow, living that new timeline that you just created, no matter what the scenario. Now, I've asked if there's any way that that ever goes away, and I was told that if you kind of don't feed the timeline, if you don't keep thinking about the thing and replaying the thing in your head, it kind of withers on the vine, if you will. It kind of just eventually dies and fades away and dissipates. But if you keep thinking about it, you reinforce it, the energy associated with that gets stronger, and that timeline just becomes a reality that is being lived somewhere else by another version of you. Let me know if you have questions about that or feedback. So let me know in the comments what your thoughts are. And if you haven't yet, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Let me know if you are interested in a video on the Mandela Effect. And if you've had any experiences with the Mandela Effect, put them down below in the comments. That way, when I make that video, I can include them. All right, you guys. I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you soon.